Hi, I'm Mike from Michael's Motor Cars, located in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I have a particularly nice-looking Austin-Healey I'd like to show you. So come on over and take a look at it. This car is a 1956 104 Healey. We do have the heritage certificate on the car. We know from that it originally came from the factory in Old English white with a black duotone, so it was white with black. Black interior, black top. It originally was built in, let's see here, 1956. Let's find this here. June 1956 is when the car was built, and then it was shipped to America. We purchased the car from a British guy down in Florida, who owns his own restoration and mechanical shop, and he had owned this car for about 5 years. He purchased the car from a large collection that was out in Tennessee, and we found out from him the car had been restored, a very extensive restoration done in the mid-80s, 1985 or so. We do have some photos showing that restoration, which we will include in the photo gallery. So please take the time and look at the photos we'll be submitting. We have a lot more photos that are showing the car being done, but it shows the typical, very thorough Austin-Healey style restoration. The wings were off, everything you could take off was off the car, down to the bare chassis. With the bulkheads on, and then building the car back up. It was a nicely done restoration. It has held up very well. Today, all of the chrome and everything, all the trim is really excellent on the car. All of the rubber is in excellent condition. That is all held up very well. There are a few minor blemishes, which you would expect in an older restoration. And please take the time and look in our photo gallery. We have some pictures. There are some blemishes along the seam line here in the top fender, the right rear. There's a spot we touched up. But overall, the car has spectacular presence. Everybody loves how this car looks. I think it's just outstanding in this particular color combination. When we started looking at this car, and I'll show you the motor, it is not the original motor to the car. We know that from the heritage certificate and also the data plate on the car. It is a 104 engine, but it's not a numbers matching engine to this specific car. There are some extras on it. It has a chrome valve cover, chrome air cleaners, upgraded ignition system, and it also had, which I really like on British cars, really almost all the European cars, it has an added electric cooling fan, which is controlled by a switch under the dash, which is really nice. It's functioning well. There's also an auxiliary temperature gauge, which is what this is, which I like to see that on these cars because it's quite accurate. The fellow we bought the car from, the British guy, is who installed the Le Mans style hood. So that, of course, is not original to the car. I happen to like them. I think it really looks cool. But that is a replacement louvered hood that he installed on the car. He also put the chrome wires on. When we received the car, we went through the car, changed the oil and filter and fluids, did a safety check. We ended up replacing all 4 hydraulic wheel cylinders in the brake system. They were leaking a little bit, so it's easier just to put new ones on. We replaced the front sway bar bushings. We also put a set of brand new Vredestein Sprint Classics that I like on these cars, and did some odds and ends. But the car essentially was in very nice condition when we received it. The one thing that I noticed as soon as I drove this car, clearly it's a car that has been used and been driven. The addition of the electric cooling fan, the ignition upgrade, all are indicators that this car was not just a show car, but was actively being driven. It drives phenomenally. The engine pulls very well, very strong. The brakes now are great, very responsive. The 104s are very different driving dynamics than the 3000s. And when we were going through some of the paperwork on the car, we know that the transmission was overhauled and rebuilt relatively recently with parts that came from Welch over in England, which is great because they're a wonderful supplier. But buried in some of the receipts, I found an Ed Iskerdan camshaft card talking about how to set the cam, the adjustment for the valves. Based on this, I'm pretty sure that this car has a Isky cam in it. That to me would explain why it runs so well. It just has extra punch and really loves to rev, more so than other 100s I've driven. The performance on this car is really closer to a 100M, of which I've driven a number of those. So if you're looking for a special 104 that you can use and drive and enjoy, and you really want it to run well, please consider this car, because it is a runner. Coming along the side of the car, they did the hockey stick here when they did the paint color scheme. And we do have photos that will show you of the car under restoration, and you'll see the original white and black, and then they changed it, of course, to the burgundy and black. And of course, the windshield folds down to do the Roger Rabbit look. That's cool. The interior also, like the whole car, has held up very well, considering it was done in the mid-80s. They chose to do leather seats, which I think are beautiful. Has burgundy piping, held up extremely well. It's still nice and supple, and it's not cracked or anything. We have a Motolita wood wheel. They carried the paint scheme through on the dash, which is very business-like looking. I love that. You'll see, please watch our driving video that we did of this car. We also have a cold start video, and it just shows, I just love driving this car. This is one of those cars that if I just kept all the cars I love, this one would stay here, because I just really had fun driving it. We also replaced the complete exhaust system. That's all stainless steel. So the front flex pipe, the main muffler, and the tailpipe, and all the hangers, they've all been replaced with the correct hardware. Coming along the rear of the car, same thing. The chrome is excellent on the car. Minor pitting right here. It's very minor in this chrome piece right here. I'd leave that alone. It kind of goes towards the patina. And I mentioned earlier, I think, this is not a concours car. This was probably concours when it was done in the mid-80s. It's now a car that I hope will be used and driven quite a bit. In the trunk, it's all correct, what you'd like to see. We have the spare tire with the strap, leather strap. We have the correct surface in the trunk area, this mat here, and that's done and properly installed. Of course, the gas tank filler. We also have on this car, that came with the car, the side curtains, and they are in excellent condition. Right in here, we'll take separate photos of all of these, but these are quite nice. I don't think they've ever been used. The plastic is clear, and they're quite usable. And we have the obligatory screw jack and Thor hammer. That all comes with the car. The car is incredibly striking to see this paint combination in person. It just really stands out. I guess you can tell I like this car. Coming along this side, same thing. The door card is excellent. The pole is in nice condition. Your grab handle, all of the trim is just very nice. The whole car just has a really nice feel everywhere you look on this car. The tonneau is older. It's functional. It's older. So that's the only thing. The top is in excellent condition. Coming along this side, you see the same thing. The paint is great the whole way around, except for the minor blemishes that we did take specific photos of along here. We've got some neat badges on the front. Healey Club, Great Britain badge. So if you're in the market for an early Healey, 1956, these cars drive very differently than the later 3000s. They're much more nimble, much more responsive. With this cam in this engine, it pulls well and revs well. So it's a very nice combination. Please ask us any questions you may have. We certainly welcome any inspections of all of our cars. Cars are available for test drives, or send anyone over to inspect it for you. This is really a neat one. So I hope we find a good home for it. It certainly deserves it. Thanks for watching the video.